Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila, chapter 19, the inconceivable behavior of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 92 onwards. So text 92 onwards, a description of the previous verse. The scent of Krishna's transcendental body surpasses the aroma of musk and attracts the minds of all women. The 8 lotus-like parts of his body distribute the fragrance of lotuses mixed with that of camphor. His body is anointed with aromatic substances like musk, camphor, sandalwood, and aguru. Oh, my dear friend, that personality of Godhead, also known as the enchanter of Cupid, always increases the desire of my nostrils. Kasturi ka nilotpala tarayai parimal taha jini Krishna anga gandha व्याप्य 14 भुवने करे सर्व आकर्षणे nari gane rakhi kare andha. The scent of Krishna's body surpasses the fragrances of musk and the bluish lotus flower. Spreading throughout the 14 worlds, it attracts everyone and makes the eyes of all women blind. Saki hai Krishna gandha jagat mataya. Narira nashate pashe sarva kal taha vaishe. Krishna pasha dhari laya jaya. My dear friend, the scent of Krishna's body enchants the entire world. It especially enters the nostrils of women and remains seated there. Thus it captures them and forcibly brings them to Krishna. Netra nabhi vadana kara juga charana ei ashta padma Krishna ange karpura lipta kamala tare jaiche parimala sei gandha ashta padma sange. Krishna's eyes, navel and face, hands and feet are like 8 lotus flowers on his body. From these 8 lotuses emanates a fragrance like a mixture of camphor and lotus. That is a scent associated with his body. Hema kilita chandana taha kari gharshana tahe agaru kumkuma kasturi. Karpura sane charcha ange purva ange ragandha sange meli tare jena kaila churi. When sandalwood pulp is mixed with aguru, kumkum, musk and camphor and spread on Krishna's body, it combines with Krishna's own original bodily perfume and seems to cover it. In another version, the last line of this verse reads, Kama devera manna kaila churi. This means the scent of all these substances mixes with the previous scent of Krishna's body and steals away the mind of Cupid. Hare narir tanuman nasha kare ghurnan khasaye nivi chutaye keshabandha kariye age bauri nachaye jagat nari hena dakatiya Krishna gandha. The scent of Krishna's transcendental body is so attractive that it enchants the bodies and minds of all women. It bewilders their nostrils, loosens their beds and hair, and makes them mad women. All the women of the world come under its influence, and therefore the scent of Krishna's body is like a plunderer. Sei gandha vashanasha sada kare gandhe rasha kabu paye kabu nahi paye. Paile piya pet bhare pin pin tab kare na paile trishnaye mari jaye. Falling completely under its influence, the nostrils yearn for it continuously. although sometimes they obtain it and sometimes not. And when they do, they drink their fill, though they still want more and more. But if they don't, they out of thirst. Then out of thirst, they die. मदन मोहन नाट पशारी गंधेर हाट जगन नारी गृहा के लोभाए विना मूल्य देय गंधा गंध दिय कर अंधा घर जाइते पथ नहीं पाए. The dramatic actor Madan Mohan has opened a shop of scents that attract the women of the world to be his customers. He delivers the scents freely, but they make the women all so blind they cannot find the path returning home. Ei mat gaur hari gandhe kaila man churi bring praye iti utti dhaye jai vriksha lata pashe krishna sure sei ashe krishna paye gandha matar paye. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his mind thus is stolen by the scent of Krishna's body, ran here and there like a bumblebee. He ran to the trees and plants, hoping that Lord Krishna would appear, but instead he found only that scent. Swarup Ramananda gaye, Prabhu nache sukha paye, ei mate prata kalahila. Swarup Ramananda raye, Kari nana upaye, Mahaprabhur bhaye spurti kahila. Both Swarup Damodar and Ramanand Rai sang to the Lord, who danced and enjoyed happiness until the morning arrived. Then these two associates of the Lord devised a plan to bring him to external consciousness. Matru Bhakti Pralapan, Bhitya Mukha Gharshan, Krishna Gandha Surti Divya Nritya. Ei chari lila bhede, gaila ei parichede, Krishna Das Rupa Gosai Nritya. Thus I, Krishnadas, the servant of Srila Rupa Goswami, have sung of 4 divisions of the Lord's pastimes in this chapter. The Lord's devotion to his mother, his words of madness, his rubbing his face against the walls at night, and his dancing at the appearance of Lord Krishna's fragrance. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that he has been able to describe these 4 pastimes of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by the blessings of Srila Rupa Goswami. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was not actually a direct disciple of Srila Rupa Goswami, but he followed the instructions given by Srila Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. He therefore acted according to the directions of Rupa Goswami and prayed in every chapter for his mercy. Ei mat Mahaprabhu paya chetana snan kari kaila jagannath darshan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus returned to external consciousness. He then bathed and went to see Lord Jagannath. Alokika Krishna Lila Divya Shakti Tara Tarkera Gochara Nahe Charitra Jahara. The pastimes of Lord Krishna are uncommonly full of transcendental potency. It's a characteristic of such pastimes that they do not fall within the jurisdiction of experimental logic and arguments. So we cannot understand them by experimental logic and arguments. No way. Ei prema sada jage jahar antare pandite tar cheshta bujite na pare. When transcendental love of Krishna awakens in someone's heart, even a learned scholar cannot comprehend his activities. Dhanyasyayam navaha prema yasyon militi chetasi antarvani bhirapi yasya mudra sushtu sudurgama. The activities are symptoms of that exalted personality in whose heart love of Godhead is awakened, cannot be understood even by the most learned scholar. This is from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Alokika Prabhur Cheshta Pralapa Shuniya Tarkana Kariya Shuna Vishwasa Kariya. The activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are undoubtedly uncommon, especially his talking like a madman. Therefore, one who hears of these pastimes should not put forward mundane arguments. He should simply hear the pastimes with full faith. Ihare satyatve parmana Shri Bhagavate Shri Radhar Prema Pralab Brahmara Gita. The evidence of the truth of these talks is found in Srimad Bhagavatam. There, in the section of the 10th canto known as Brahmar Gita, the song to the bumblebee, Srimati Radharani speaks insanely in ecstatic love for Krishna. So that Brahmar Gita, when Uddhavji arrived in Vrindavan, and he gave the message of Krishna to the gopis, then this Brahmar Gita, Radharani speaks to a bumblebee. And actually, the black bumblebee was Krishna himself who had come as bumblebee. It's a wonderful talk, but as it is said, speaks insanely in ecstatic love for Krishna. So when Uddhav arrived from Mathura carrying a message for the gopis began talking about Krishna and crying. Then Srimati Radharani saw a bumblebee and began speaking to it like someone mad, thinking that the bee was a messenger of Uddhav's or was someone very dear to him and Krishna. The verses are as follows. So I'll not just read the Sanskrit verses as a translation. My dear bumblebee, you are a very cunning friend of Uddhav and Krishna. You're very expert in touching people's feet. But I'm not going to be misled by this. You appear to have sat on the breasts of one of Krishna's friends, for I see that you have kumkum dust on your mustache. Krishna is now engaged in flattering all his young girlfriends in Mathura. Therefore, now that he can be called a friend of the residents of Mathura, he does not need the help of the residents of Vrindavan. He has no reason to satisfy us, gopis. Since you're the messenger of such a person as he, what's the use of your presence here? Certainly, Krishna would be ashamed of your presence in this assembly. How has Krishna offended the gopis so that they want to reject him for their minds? The answer is given as below. Krishna no longer gives us the enchanting nectar of his lips. Instead, he now gives that nectar to the women of Mathura. Krishna directly attracts our minds, yet he resembles a bumblebee like you because he gives up the association of a beautiful flower and goes to a flower that is inferior. That is the way Krishna has treated us. I don't know why the goddess of fortune continues to serve his lotus feet instead of leaving them aside. Apparently, she believes in Krishna's false words. We gopis, however, are not unintelligent like Lakshmi. So after hearing the bumblebee's sweet songs and recognizing that the bee was singing about Krishna for her satisfaction, the gopi replied. The gopi means Srimati Radharani. Dear bumblebee, Lord Krishna has no residence here, but we know him as Yadupati, the king of the Yadu dynasty. We know him very well, and therefore we are not interested in hearing any more songs about him. It would be better for you to go sing to those who are now very dear to Krishna. Those women of Mathura have now achieved the opportunity of being embraced by him. They are his beloveds now, and therefore he has relieved the burning in their breasts. But if you go there and sing your songs to those fortunate women, they will be very pleased and they will honor you. A collector of honey, Krishna must be very sorry not to see us gopis. Surely he is afflicted by memories of our pastimes. Therefore he has sent you as a messenger to satisfy us. Do not speak to us. All the women in the three worlds where death is inevitable, the heavenly, middle, and lower planets, are very easily available to Krishna because his curved eyebrows are so attractive. Moreover, he is always served very faithfully by the goddess of fortune. In comparison with her, we are most insignificant. Indeed, we are nothing. Yet, although he is very cunning, Krishna is also very charitable. You may inform him that he is praised for his kindness to unfortunate persons, and that he is therefore known as Uttam Shloka, one who is praised by chosen words and verses. You are buzzing at my feet just to be forgiven for your past offenses. Kindly go away from my feet. I know that Mukunda has taught you to speak very sweet, flattering words like this and to act as his messenger. These are certainly clever tricks, my dear Bumblebee, but I can understand. This is Krishna's offense. Do not tell Krishna what I have said, although I know that you are very envious. We gopis have given up our husbands, our sons, and all the religious principles that promise better births. And now we have no business other than serving Krishna. Yet Krishna, by controlling his mind, has easily forgotten us. Therefore, don't speak of him anymore. Let us forget our relationship. When we remember the past births of Krishna, my dear Bumblebee, we are very much afraid of him. In his incarnation as Lord Ramchandra, he acted just like a hunter and unjustly killed his friend Bali. Lasti Shrupnakha came to satisfy Ramchandra's desires, but he was so attached to Sita Devi that he cut off Shrupnakha's nose. In his incarnation as Vamandev, he plundered Bali Maharaj and took all his possessions, cheating him on the pretext of accepting worship from him. Vamandev caught Bali Maharaj exactly as one catches a crow. My dear Bumblebee, it's not very good to make friends with such a person. I know that once one begins to talk about Krishna, it's very difficult to stop, and I admit that I have insufficient strength to give up talking about him. Topics about Krishna are so powerful that they destroy the four religious principles: religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Anyone who drinks even a small drop of Krishna Katha through oral reception is freed from all material attachment and envy. Like a bird with no means of subsistence, such a person becomes a mendicant and lives by begging. Ordinary household affairs become miserable for him, and without attachment, he suddenly gives up everything. Although such renunciation is quite suitable because I'm a woman, I'm unable to adopt it. My dear messenger, I'm just like a foolish bird that hears the sweet songs of a hunter, believes in them due to simplicity, and is then pierced in the heart and made to surrender all kinds of, or made to suffer all kinds of miseries. Because we believed in Krishna's words, we have suffered great pain. Indeed, the touch of Krishna's nails has injured our faces. He has caused us so much pain. Therefore, you should give up topics concerning him and talk about something else. After hearing all these statements from Srimati Radhika, the bumblebee left and then returned. After some thought, the gopi said, "You are Krishna's very dear friend, and by his order you have come here again. Therefore you are worshipable for me. O best of messengers, tell me now, what's your request? What do you want?" Krishna cannot give up conjugal love, and therefore I understand that you have come here to take us to him. But how will you do that? We know that many goddesses of fortune now reside at Krishna's chest, and they constantly serve Krishna better than we can. Praising the bumblebee for its sobriety, she began to speak in great jubilation. Krishna is now living with the gentleman in Mathura. Krishna is now living like a gentleman in Mathura, forgetting all the gopis of Vrindavan. But does he not remember the sweet house of Father Nanda Maharaj? We are all naturally his maid servants. Does he not remember us? Does he ever speak about us, or has he forgotten us completely? Will he ever forgive us and once again touch us with those hands fragrant with the scent of agud? Mahishira Gita Jena Dashamera Sheshe Panditena Bhuje Tara Artha Visheshe. The songs of the queens at Dwarka, which are mentioned at the end of 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, have a very special meaning. They are not understood even by the most learned scholars. So they are the songs by queens at Dwarka. All the queens incessantly thought of Krishna. After their pastimes in the water, the queen said, "Our dear friend, the osprey, Krishna is now asleep, but we stay awake at night because of him. You laugh at us when you see us awake at night, but why are you not sleeping? You seem absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. Have you also been pierced by Krishna's smile? His smile is very sweet. One who is pierced by such an arrow is very fortunate. O Chakravarti, you keep your eyes wide open at night because you cannot see your friend. Indeed, you are suffering very much. It is because of compassion that you're crying, or are you trying to capture Krishna by remembering him? Having been touched by the lotus feet of Krishna, all the queens are very happy. Are you crying to wear Krishna's garland on your head? Please answer these questions clearly, O Chakravarti, so that we can understand. O ocean, you have no opportunity to sleep quietly at night. Instead, you are always awake and crying. You have received this benediction and your heart is broken just like ours. Mukunda's business with us is simply to smear our marks of kumkum. O ocean, you suffer as much as we do. O moon, you appear to be suffering from a severe fever, perhaps tuberculosis. Indeed, your effulgence does not have the strength to destroy the darkness. Have you become mad after hearing the songs of Krishna? Is that why you are silent? Seeing you suffering, we feel that you are one of us. O Malayan breeze, kindly tell us what wrong we have done to you. Why do you fan the flames of desires in our hearts? We've been pierced by the arrow of Govinda's glance, for he is perfect in the art of awakening the influence of Cupid. Dear cloud, a friend of Krishna's, are you thinking of the Srivatsa symbol on Krishna's chest? Like us queens engaging in loving affairs with him. You are absorbed in meditation, remembering the association of Krishna, and thus you shed tears of misery. Dear Coco, you possess a very sweet voice, and you are very expert in imitating others. You could excite even a dead body with your voice. Therefore, tell the queens that good behavior is a proper duty. O magnanimous mountain, you're very grave and sober, absorbed in thoughts of doing something very great. Like us, you have vowed to keep within your heart the lotus feet of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. O rivers, wives of the ocean, we see that the ocean does not give you happiness. Thus you have almost dried up, and you no longer bear beautiful lotuses. The lotuses have become skinny, and even in the sunshine, they're devoid of all pleasure. Similarly, the hearts of us poor queens are all dried up, and our bodies are skinny because we are now devoid of loving affairs with Madhupati. Are you like us, dry and without beauty because you're devoid of Krishna's loving glance? O Swan, you have come here so happily. Let us welcome you. We understand that you're always Krishna's messenger. Now, while you drink this milk, tell us what his message is. Has Krishna said something about us to you? May we inquire from you whether Krishna is happy? We want to know. Does he remember us? We know that the goddess of fortune is serving him alone. We are simply made servants. How can we worship him, who speaks sweet words but never fulfills our desires? So these are the queens in Dwarka, and they are also in separation from Krishna. All the Krishna is there. So this is the mystery of Krishna Prem. That's all I can say. Never fulfills anybody because their desires, gopis or queens, their desires keep on increasing. Mahaprabhu Nityananda Dohar Daser Das Yare Kripa Karen Tar Hai The Vishwas. If one becomes a servant of the servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu and is favored by them, he can believe in all these discourses. Shraddha kari shuniha shunite mahasukha khandive adhyatmikadi kutarkadi dukha. Just try to hear these topics with faith, for there is great pleasure even in hearing them. That hearing will destroy all miseries pertaining to the body, mind, and other living entities, and the unhappiness of false arguments as well. So that hearing will destroy all miseries, all adhyatmic, adhibhautik, adhidairik klesha, and the unhappiness of false arguments as well. Chaitanya Charitamrita Nitya Nutana Shunite Shunite Jurai Hridaya Sharama. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita is ever increasingly fresh. For one who hears it again and again, the heart and ear become pacified. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Jara Asa Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose to Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila, 19th chapter, describing the Lord's devotion to his mother, his mad speeches in separation from Krishna, his rubbing his face against the walls of the Gambhira, and his dancing in Jagannath Vallabh garden. Hari Bol. So we still have time. Now we come to the very last chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Can't believe it. The Shikshashtaka prayers. Text 1. Premod bhavita harsharesh harshereshyoda vega danyatri mishritam lapitam gora chandrasya bhagyavadbhir nishevayate. Only the most fortunate will relish the mad words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which were mixed with jubilation, envy, agitation, submissiveness, and grief, all produced by ecstatic loving emotions. Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandra, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ei Mata Mahaprabhu Vaishanila Chai, Rajanidhi Vashe Krishna Videha Vivale. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus resided at Jagannath Puri, Nilachal, he was continuously overwhelmed night and day by separation from Krishna. Swarup Ramanandai Dui Jana Shani Ratri Dine Rasa Gita Shloka Swadani. Day and night he tested transcendental blissful songs and verses with two associates, namely Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Rai. Nana Bhava Utthe Prabhu Harsha Shoka Rosha Dhanyo Vega Arti Utkantha Santosha. He relished the symptoms of various transcendental emotions such as jubilation, lamentation, anger, humility, anxiety, grief, eagerness, and satisfaction. Sei bhave nij shloka padiya, shlokera artha asradya, dui bandhulaya. He would recite his own verses, expressing their meanings and emotions, and thus enjoy tasting them with these two friends. Kona dine kona bhave shloka pathan, sei shloka aswadite ratri jagra. Sometimes the Lord would be absorbed in a particular emotion and would stay awake all night reciting related verses and relishing their taste. Harsha Prabhu kahen shun Swarup Rama Rai, Nama Sankirtan kalo parama upay. In great jubilation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, My dear Swarup Damodar and Ramanand Rai, Know from me that chanting the holy names is a most feasible means of salvation in this age of Kali. Now he's coming to the last instructions, and then these are the topmost instructions. And coming down, the essence is chanting of the holy names. Sankirtana yagya kalo Krishna aradhan, seita sumedha paye Krishnera chara. In this age of Kali, the process of worshipping Krishna is to perform sacrifice by chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who does so is certainly very intelligent. He attains shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagya Sankirtana Praya Yajanti Sumethasa. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Nama Sankirtan Harite Sarva Anartha Nash, Sarva Anartha Nash, Sarva Shubhodaya, Krishna Preme Rayolas. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, one can be freed from all undesirable habits. This is the means of awakening all good fortune and initiating the flow of waves of love for Krishna. So now he gives the first verse of Shiksha. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahandavagni nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidya Vadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swandanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Let there be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which can cleanse the mirror of the heart and stop the miseries of the blazing fire of material existence. That chanting is a waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living entities. It's the life and soul of all education. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone and enables one to taste full nectar at every step. So this is the first verse of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Shikshashtaka. The other 7 verses are found in later texts. So this was what happens when we chant properly. Sankirtan haite papa sansara nasha chitta shuddhi sarva bhakti sadhana udgam. By performing congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, one can destroy the sinful condition of material existence, purify the unclean heart, and awaken all varieties of devotion service. So, one can destroy the sinful condition of material existence by chanting, congregational chanting. And come to think of it, what is the cause of the sinful condition of material existence? And purify the unclean heart. What is it? Uncleanliness in the heart. It all is, to start with, thinking I am this body. And when I am this body, the goal of life is to give pleasure to this body. That's it. Everybody is working to give pleasure to their bodies. And if you go a little above, then pleasure to the mind. But that is all material body is. So chanting removes that misconception. I am this. We come to the understanding, I am a spirit soul, actually. Not this body. Body is just a vehicle. It's an instrument given to us to either take us to the goal of life or to take us to next body. And then we do karmas, and then we suffer or enjoy in the next body, and the cycle goes on and on and on. So the chanting, first thing it does, it removes that covering. It purifies the consciousness so we can understand who am I. Once one temple Prabhupada visited, and Prabhupada asked how are all the devotees doing? Is everybody attending Mangalarti, chanting their rounds? Temple president said, yes, and everybody attends and chant their round, and they do the Sankirtan, book distribution, everything going on nicely. But the temple president said, but Prabhupada, I have to admit, our temple is not very clean. The devotees don't like to keep it very clean. Prabhupada said, then they are not chanting properly. The president, no, Prabhupada, they're chanting every morning. I see them sit down, chant. Prabhupada said, if they were chanting properly, the first thing that would have happened is Chetu Darpan Marjanam. And if Chetu Darpan Marjanam, as a mirror of the heart, is cleansed, the first thing they will do is keep their surroundings clean. If those are not clean, means they are not chanting. So not just the surroundings, because our heart, when it is cleansed, then our activities, our dealings with others, they will also be on the purified stage. And if it is not happening, means something is wrong with our chanting. Not something, plenty of things are wrong with the chanting. Further effects or further results will be later. The first thing is cleanliness. Krishna Premodgam Premamrita Swadan Krishna Prapti Sevamrita Samudre Majam. The result of chanting is that one awakens his love for Krishna and tastes transcendental bliss. Ultimately, one attains the association of Krishna and engages in devotional service, as if immersing oneself in a great ocean of love. Uthila Vishad Dhanya Pade Apan Shloka Jahara Artha Shoni Sab Jai Dukh Shoka. Lamentation and humility awoke within Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he began reciting another of his own verses. By hearing the meaning of that verse, one can forget all unhappiness and lamentation. So we'll read that next verse tomorrow and see what other descriptions are given. So we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Nice class, Prabhuji. Especially
Thank
verse
you,
98 and 104.
क्या 98
वो 98 जो वर्स था ना प्रभु जी बहुत अच्छा था
Oh. Yep.
Yes.
Cholo, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.